Welcome to another Unwinding with Fiber and Fabric. We are entering the last week of Tour de Fleece 2026. I'm back at my Kromsky Symphony wheel, and I am ready to start spinning the carded fin sheep fiber. If you watched my earlier videos, you will know that this fiber is what is left over after I combed the fiber, taking all of the really nice, long, consistent locks and strands of the fleece that I had and separating out all the short bits. But rather than using the short bits as stuffing for teddy bears or something of that nature, I've decided to go ahead and card it and spin it because it can be usable. It can be usable yarn when it has been spun. So that's what I'm going to start doing today. I have the wheel out. I have my drop cloth here, my lap cloth here ready, because while this fiber has gone through the combing process, it's gone through the picking process, it's gone through the scouring process, it's gone through the combing process, and it's been carded, there is still a chance that there is some vegetable matter hidden inside of some of this fluff. And I'm just going to go ahead and have my lap cloth down. It's one of the very first times in this tour that I have actually been comfortable enough to have my lap cloth in place. It's just been too hot, but we finally had a cooler night last night. So my intent with this fiber is to spin it a long draw. In this case, because I know that we have short bits, longer bits, neps, all sorts of different pieces of fiber that want to maybe clump or not spin is fine. I'm going with a long draw, and what I'm trying to tell my brain is don't overthink it, don't overwork it, just let it be. And if there is a clump, I don't have to catch them all. I can just let them spin, and this will be a very rustic yarn. If it spins up nice and well, it can be perfect for some felty little critters. I like to do, with a lot of my rustic yarn, I like to make amagramis, and I find that sometimes using my little woolly rustic yarn, where it's not consistent all the way through, can be a wonderful way to do that with an amagrami, especially if the amagrami's end location in life is as a cat toy. And yes, I do like to make fuzzy cat toys. I find that if it's a good, solid, sturdy yarn, but it is woolen as opposed to worsted, and I crochet it with a very tight gauge, and then take a cat grooming brush or a very dense bristle brush, very much like the one that I use on my drum carder and my blending board. If I take a good solid brush to it, or a cat slicker brush to it, that I can cause the woolly fibers to bloom on the crocheted amigurumi. And my whimsy little orange tabby, she loves a fluffy, fuzzy cat toy. She finds that they are wonderful because her claws click into them and she can toss them into the air and she decimates them. So I think that's what this spin's ultimate end yarn will be, is more cat toys to keep my Crazy orange tabby, my ginger cat, to keep her entertained and happy. I tend to stuff them with the wool as well. I find it just works overall. It doesn't hurt if I have a little bit of wool that has some lanolin on. It just draws her to them even more so. So that is what I'm spinning today. And as I am spinning this woolen, fluffy, short bits, net filled, and it's fairly, I'm impressed. It's fairly vegetable matter free, which is really great. I guess the cleaning process, the processing of it really did get a lot of the debris out of it. But as I'm spinning this, I wanted to talk about a subject that comes up every year around this time. And it is around for the Tour de Fleece, staying on topic. And it is the detours that often take us off the direct spinning path of our Tour de Fleece plans. So, as a recap, Tour de Fleece is an event that follows along with the Tour de France. And because many of us also do the Tour de Fleece Femmes, which sometimes occurs right after the Tour de France, and sometimes there's a little bit of a gap. For many of us, we're looking at a full month, maybe even just a little over, but a full month of spinning. And we set off with that in mind. We make our goals, we make our plans, and we're like, okay, we're gonna have this full month of spinning, and I'm going to bust through my stash, and I'm gonna find my mojo, and I'm gonna learn new skills. And all of this is exactly what we all seem to want to get behind and do for this big event. But the thing is, unlike the Tour de France cyclists, most of us do not have an entire support crew, pit crew, people changing out our flat tires for us. We do not have people, sourcing our food for us, making sure we're getting some sleep, helping us recover from overuse. And most importantly, most of us aren't putting in the hours upon hours of preparation all year to get ready for the event. And as spinners, that is how it's supposed to be. We have other lives other than our spinning for most of us. There are some people who spinning is still part of their livelihood. It is still part of their day-to-day. Okay. But for most of us, it is a hobby / adventure in fiber. And because of that, we do not come into Tour de Fleece as prepared, and certainly not with as much of a support crew. So that means for many, we may end up spending the month of June preparing for the month of July. And for some, it is just a matter of getting our prepared rovings out, deciding what colors we want to spin, and maybe doing some practice spinning to reacquaint ourselves with our wheels, get our muscles moving. For some, like what I did this year, we may spend the month of June carding and combing, scouring a fleece, or as I have been doing, desperately trying to get my space ready to be used. These are all things that many of us think of as preparation. But then when we get into, because we're preparing for a big event, we've known the event is coming, and we want to be prepared, and we want to be able to dedicate our time to our spinning, in many cases, our free time around jobs and families and other events that crop up every year for those of us in the northern hemisphere, the summertime. For those in the southern hemisphere, I would imagine there are events that crop up in the winter. So, Tour de Fleece, regardless of how well we are planning for it, is something that we know going in has to juggle and share our time. It's not always going to be something we're completely dedicated to. Especially, with Tour de Fleece, even if we've decided to be team captains, hosts, the volunteers that help make the journey a little bit more supported to our fellow spinners, for our fellow spinners. So we spend time preparing. So that means Tour de Fleece almost becomes a 2-month endeavor. And don't get me started if it's an Olympic year, because then many of us are going right from Tour de Fleece right into the Olympics. And the last Summer Olympics, I went from Tour de Fleece to the Olympics to Tour de Fleece Femmes. Oh my goodness, it was a long haul. So it can be quite the summer, and it can be quite the time consumer, and we can run into the issue, as many of us do, of I thought I had enough fiber prepared, I thought I knew what I was doing, but now I'm mid-tour and I've got to adjust. And that brings me to the title of this video, Detours. Because of course when we prepare ahead of time for Tour de Fleece, we go into Tour de Fleece hoping that we will have a straight journey. We will follow the path. We will go from point A to point B. Yes, we may get a flat tire and have to improvise, have to replace a wheel band, a wheel band to replace, in my case, to order another bobbin, because my e-spinner I only bought 4 bobbins with my e-spinner, and I kind of need 5 if I want to do the entirety of my 4-ply on my e-spinner. I will be waiting until sometime tomorrow for my parcel to arrive, hoping that everything's intact, and finishing my 4-ply purple fluff merino spin. And in some cases, the detours are due to larger issues than just a simple flat tire. Sometimes we have equipment that breaks that will take a while to repair or replace. And sometimes our bodies say no. Sometimes the bodies of our loved ones say no and say it's time for a break. Crashes, whether they are experienced by us, the spinner, or those we love, do happen. For those that are following along with the Tour de France themselves, we just had a big crash. And we empathize, because for so many of us, our tour does get cut short because of crashes that could not be avoided no matter how much preparing we tried to do ahead of time. This tour, I've experienced a couple crashes that could have easily taken me out of the event, at least as far as the spinning. Fortunately, I do have a phenomenal support crew, and I've had a lot of ministering done to me to get me back in front of the wheel, to help me keep going, to help me avoid a retreat from the 2026 Tour de Fleece. For those of you that have followed me know that a few years ago, at the tail end of my month-long of spinning, because I had made the goal of spinning the entire month of July, I did, in the last few days, have to pull out of my desired event, desired goal. It happens. And for all of you that are watching this, for all of you that are out there experiencing it, my heart goes out to you. You have my support. I'm cheering you on, and I hope that next year will be easier. Whatever your crash was, I hope next year will find you in a better place. So I have to tighten this up. Doing this this fluffy fiber needs just a little more tension on my bands. There we go. That's better. Because it's so fluffy and it's going on, more weight is going on at a faster pace than if I were spinning really fine fiber or spinning my fiber very thinly. And so I do have to put more tension in order for it to continue to draw on the single. So as I was saying, the title of this is Detours. Although I have a feeling I may end up changing it to Detours and Crashes, because every year we do have a number of participants who crash out. And as I said, I really do feel for them. My heart goes out to them and my support. And I hope that the upcoming year will find them in a better place, a place of healing. So Detours, on the other hand, those are things that, well, maybe we could have avoided, maybe we could have planned for, but in truth, just like as we're driving down the road and we have mapped out where we are wanting to go and we have this great destination in mind, all of a sudden we discover someone, something, the universe had other plans for us. And as one of the wonderful team captains and moderators out there posted, sometimes we just cannot put off something like reacquainting ourselves with our fiber, with our spinning space, with our workspace. I did my best to do that in the run-up to Tour de Fleece because, and only because, I make these videos. That is the reason why I was so desperate before the tour started to have my space ready. It's because I make these videos, and it's very difficult for me to make my videos if I don't have a calm space around me. The hoops that I've jumped through in the past to make the videos to where you think that my world is calm and organized, those have been huge and mighty hoops to jump through. But sometimes the reality is we get well into Tour de Fleece and we don't know what we want to spin, or we have lost our mojo to spin what we thought we wanted to spin. And we need to sit down and actually reacquaint ourselves with what we have. Sometimes Other factors come in that make it so that we have to rearrange, that we have to clean. Sometimes those crashes, while they don't take us out of the tour completely, they do require us to adjust our space. And sometimes the best way to reacquaint ourselves with our fiber and also our lost mojo, or in essence, our spinning mojo, our spinning enthusiasm, is to take a break from the spinning, take a break from the moderating, take a break from our social groups, and dedicate ourselves to doing, as my spinning friend mentioned, doing a complete clean and rehaul, reorganization, reacquaintance of our tools, our supplies, our spun fiber, our yarn, our equipment. Sometimes the best time to do that is not before a month of spinning, but right in the middle of the month of spinning. I've seen a lot of spinners ask, is it okay to card our fiber during Tour de Fleece? Is it okay for us to can we count carding our fiber? Can we count scouring a fleece? And here's what I'm going to tell you. I think it is a perfectly acceptable and appropriate time to do all of that. But if you belong to a team that is giving out prizes, especially, please make sure you check with the team rules, because some rules may say it has to be spinning, and some are happy for it to just be fiber related. And you know what? Reacquainting ourselves with what we have, our stock, that is fiber related. And allowing ourselves to do that and not feeling like we've let down anybody, especially ourselves, that's important. Everyone's tour is their own. Everyone's race, everyone's journey is their own I'll use the term, I was a runner, so I use the term run. In this case, it's theirs to spin. It's our own journey to spin. It's our own journey to cross. But we get together in order to support each other, to try to lift each other up, and to cheer each other on, whether it's from the parallel journey or from the sidelines. That's what these events are about. That is what the heart of the event is always. Even when there is competition that is established, as I was saying in my other video, a couple videos back about Spinzilla. Even when there was intense competition to see who could create what team and what individual could create the most spun fiber, the heart of the event was in order to bring people together and introduce the craft to a new generation, to new spinners. The heart of the event was still, there are some really lumpy short bits that I'm leaving in, and it is so hard, by the way, to leave them in. I've had to take at least one out. Oh, I want it rustic, and it is so hard to just leave it alone. And just let it go into the lumpy yarn. The heart of these events is to create a society that supports each other, a community that supports each other. So as you go through your Tour de Fleece, or your knit along, your crochet along, whatever along you are participating with, don't lose sight that the end goal is the community, not the quantity, not even the quality. It is the community. The goal is the community. And as a community, we can get better and we can get stronger and we can improve our technique and we can improve our end product. As a community, we can lift each other up, help each other along, and most importantly, cheer each other on as we run into detours and most especially crashes, big or small. And that is my message for this stage of Tour de Fleece 2026. I hope that you have spent some time unwinding with fiber or fabric, or just hugging your pets. Mine have been dancing around and fortunately have not in their process knocked down the camera. My little ginger kitty seems to now know that this tripod holding my phone is not something that she needs to knock over. I wish you a happy unwinding, and we'll see you at a future stage.